Welcome back to another episode of Data Unscripted, the podcast where we break down the world of data and analytics in short, bite-sized episodes. I'm Ori, and with me is Daddy. How's it going, Daddy?
Hey, Ori. I'm good. Excited to dig into today's topic.
Me too. Today we're going to talk about what we are calling the platinum layer, a new concept that gives analysts the ability to create tables in the data warehouse while maintaining both governance and control. To get started, Adi, I think it would be great if you could give us a few words about the typical medallion architecture and the typical data team division of labor.
Right. Okay, let's get started. So the medallion architecture organizes data into three tiers or layers: bronze, silver, and gold. Let's start with the bronze layer, right? So at the bronze level, you're basically storing raw data exactly as it came in from various data sources, right? So after that, in the silver tier, you're cleaning, you're standardizing the data, removing null values, removing duplicates, and all that stuff. Gold data sets are tables that are ready for consumption. Usually you have your business metric, your semantic tables and whatnot. Basically, you're good to consume those in your BI tools, your data science projects, and whatnot. Traditionally, data engineers are in charge of ingesting the data, bringing the data into your data warehouse, and transforming it from raw data into the actual metrics, the gold layer. Analysts usually don't have direct access to the data warehouse, so they usually work with the gold layer metrics to do their analysis and reporting.
Got it. Okay. Now, what happens when an analyst needs a new table to work with, or maybe to tweak the business logic in existing tables in that gold layer?
Right. Okay. So this happens all the time. So in most data-driven organizations, when an analyst wants to build a new dashboard or run some sort of advanced analysis, and they need a table to work with, they usually write the SQL query that comprises that table and send it to the data engineering team, who then in turn need to review it and validate the core, make sure there's no performance issues and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. This process can take days or even weeks, depending on the cadence and the work arrangements of the data team. And both sides get frustrated. Analysts are left waiting and can't provide the business value that are being asked to provide. And the engineers get buried in requests and long SQL code that they need to crunch into.
That sounds like one hell of a bottleneck to me.
Exactly. And there's also the risk that important context gets lost in translation, since the analyst is the one who's holding the business expertise here, and they know exactly what they want, and they hand it over to the data engineer. But the engineer has to dig into those 300 lines of SQL code to actually understand what they mean. It's inefficient, and it slows everyone down.
Okay. And that is exactly where the platinum layer comes in, of course. What is it really, and how does it change the game for data teams?
Right. So the platinum layer sits above the traditional medallion architecture and gives analysts the ability to create, manage, and schedule their own tables and transformations. The idea here is to give the analysts the flexibility to quickly create and update tables that they need for their day-to-day activities, but to do so in a managed environment to bring governance and order to that process.
Hold on. From my experience, analysts create custom queries in their BI tools and views in the data warehouse to do exactly that. No? Why another layer?
Right. You're spot on, Ori, because that's exactly the problem. Because analysts don't have access to build tables in the data warehouse, they end up building those clunky workarounds, which creates islands of truth, namely people replicating the same tables in different places, with different code, performance issues, because views and those custom queries are being loaded in runtime. So it takes forever to execute, and the dashboards take a lot of time to load, and complexity to test the changes, to manage the versions when you have dependencies and everything related to that.
Got it. So really the platinum layer centralizes the code that analysts create for their day-to-day needs in one place, and then it can be governed and run efficiently by the organization.
Exactly, that's right. The platinum layer formalizes things. It brings structure and governance to the process. Analysts get the freedom to move quickly, But the data engineers can manage the layer, monitor what's going on, control it, and all of that.
Got it. So how is the platinum layer different from the gold layer? It seems like there are similarities here.
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's important to understand the distinction here. Let's start with the gold layer. The gold layer is managed by data engineers. It contains standardized, structured, business-critical data sets that are meant to be stable over time and widely used. On the other hand, the platinum layer is managed by analysts. It empowers them, and the analysts who are closest to the business questions, to build and manage data sets tailored to their specific needs, right? So these data sets are often temporary or project-based, and it reflects the evolving priorities of the business. So it has a more dynamic vibe to it. So while the gold layer is about stability and consistency, the platinum layer is about agility and leveraging your domain knowledge.
What if an analyst creates something in the platinum layer that turns out to be valuable long-term? Something that the analyst realizes that they would need to be stable and maintained over time. What then?
Okay, that's a great question. It's actually one of the biggest advantages of the platinum layer concept. So when you have a data set or a transformation that proves its value, it can be easily promoted from the platinum layer to the gold layer, and effectively making it part of the organization's official governed data assets. So this streamlines the process of taking the innovative work and easily turning it into a trusted, usable resource.
Makes complete sense. Instead of sending 300 lines of SQL to a data engineer, the analyst can create and manage their own table, and the organization still gets governance and quality, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So the platinum layer formalizes what's already happening informally, right? Analysts are already creating those custom logic and BI tools or views in the warehouse, but it's untracked and ungoverned. With the platinum layer, organizations get the best of both worlds. On the one hand, you get rapid analyst-driven development, and on the other, enterprise-grade governance. Isn't that great?
Yes, it is. And that's why tools like Montara are gaining a lot of popularity recently. Everyone needs agility and structure. And the reality of working with data requires new approaches and new tools all the time. And this is a new approach that is being adopted widely. So thanks, Dadi, for breaking it down for us. And thanks all of you for listening to Data Unscripted. And see you next time. Bye-bye.
Talk to you later, Rory. Bye-bye.